Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. So this is kind of an impromptu video. The reason being is because I remember that one of our community members left a comment saying, can you do more videos driving around so we can see what it looks like in the area? So I just finished doing a few errands this morning in town, and I'm headed back home, so I thought that I'd take the scenic route, or what I think is the scenic route at least, and so you guys can see what it looks like. All right, not too much to see this time of the year because everything is still a little bit dull, but nonetheless, if you don't want to hear my voice, you can at least put the video on mute and take a look at the scenery. So as you can see by the title on the video, is I just have a message for you all right, and the message is what the title says. It says, don't panic and don't be scared, be prepared. All right, and I really mean that, ladies and gentlemen, and everything that I'm going to talk about right now, it has to do with the economy. And whenever I talk about the economy, it's usually not in a favorable way, meaning that I am not very optimistic with how our economy is doing, even with the numbers that we get from the government. All right, I'm not optimistic at all. I really don't trust the numbers, and I'm going to tell you why. And everything that I'm going to tell you right now is off the cuff, right? It's off the top of my head. I didn't do any research into this. It's just things that I remember from reading articles, from seeing graphs, you know, from seeing things that have been happening recently. All right, things that have been made to look as being good and bad. Right. So my main message is, don't be scared, be prepared. But how do you get rid of being scared? How do you get rid of that thought in the back of your head of saying, listen, things are bad, but this is what I can do to make things better, or this is what I can do to prepare for if things get worse. All right, so I had a comment not too long ago from someone that took a look at one of my older videos that was about the economy, and the vibe was that he thought that I was trying to scare people into prepping, and I'm not. I'm trying to inform you. All right, and let me tell you why I'm trying to inform you, because information is everything. But information without you going and doing your own research is just you blindly doing what someone else says that they're doing. And you should never do something, anything, in my opinion, that you go into blindly. All right, so whenever I say something on one of my videos about the economy or about anything, I always tell you that it's what I do. And I think it's very important for you to understand that it's what I do, and or it's based on my opinion, because what I want you guys to do with anything that you hear me say or see me do is to do your own research. Go look for yourselves, and you may find that you disagree with what I have to say. You may find that what I'm saying is not what you are seeing, and that's okay, right? But that still doesn't take away, in my opinion, the fact that we need to prepare to take care of ourselves and our families in the case that something may happen, and that something can be anything. All right, that may be out of our control. All right, so this is my gist on the economy. Okay, I don't think that the physical economy is doing good at all. All right, last month, March, it was a really big story, especially on the mainstream news. All right, from the few articles that I saw, because I really don't watch mainstream media channels, right? That the economy was doing great because we added like 191 or 194,000 jobs last month, meaning the month of March, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what they're not telling you is that, I mean, they're telling you if you want to go out and take a look. But what they're not telling you is that, yes, we did add 190 something thousand jobs to our labor force last month, right? But what they're not telling you is that in the same month, more than 300 and something thousand people dropped out of the labor force. So when you take 190,000 jobs that were added last month and you subtract it from 300 and something thousand, and some numbers say more than 400,000 people that dropped out of the labor market or the labor force, meaning that there's 300 to 400,000 people in the United States that quit looking for work. All right? When you take that 190,000 and subtract it from that 300 and something thousand, you're still left with a negative. You're still left with more people last month being unemployed than what were employed at the beginning of that month. Okay, so these are the things that I encourage you to look into. You know, I've done a few videos in the past where I've said that don't ever look at one side of the story. That when you read an article, try to read between the lines. All right? I remember reading an article a while back, doing a video a while back, that, and by all means, this is not a global warming, cooling, or anything like that video, but I'm going to use this as an example. It was being reported that the ice caps in the North Pole had lost like 1 billion something metric tons of ice, right? And it was true that the ice caps did lose 1 billion something metric tons of ice. But what they failed to tell you was the fact that the loss of ice that was incurred at that point only accounted for 0.018% of all of the ice in the ice cap. So yes, the ice cap lost all that ice, but they failed to tell you that all of the ice that it lost only amounted to less than 1/5 of 1% of what was lost. So that's what I mean about reading between the lines, all right, and doing your own research and not just blindly following what you are being told. And that's what I would like you to do with what I tell you as well. I don't want you to blindly follow what I'm telling you. I want you to go out there and say, I don't know, this doesn't sound right, AP, and let me look into it. And if you find something that is contradictory to what I'm saying, then I would hope that you'd come back and say, hey, I think maybe you were wrong about this because of this and this and that, and this is what I found. And that does not only benefit you, but it benefits the entire community as a whole, right? Because knowledge is power. And if you take that knowledge and you spread it around and you freely give it to other community members so that they can go out there and hopefully do the same research you did and find that, yes, you're right, this is what I found, then that is power. That is empowering yourself. Okay? So you should never be scared when you hear something or see something. Do your own research. And then if your own research tells you that you should do A, B, or C so that you can prepare your way for your needs, then you can take that information and use it for good instead of worrying and maybe making a rash and or emotional decision that may not be the best decision for you. Okay? So just that part where we added 190 something thousand jobs makes it sound like the economy is doing great. Everyone is always talking about how great the stock market is doing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've said it in the past and I'll say it again. The stock market does not reflect what the physical economy is doing. All right? The stock market is ramped up because most of these corporations that are listed on the Dow Jones, on the S&P, on the NASDAQ, all right, most of these corporations have used a lot of their money that they've just had sitting in the bank to buy back their own stocks. Now, why is it that a company's stock rises in value or rises in price? It's not really rising in value, all right, because the company is not more valuable, all right, only because their stock is worth more, all right. Why is it that a company's stock rises in price when that company uses its own money to buy back its own shares? I'm going to explain to you really quick why it is that happens. All right, so let's say that I have a company, and when I introduce that company into the public market, i.e. the Dow, the NASDAQ, whatever it may be, right? I think they call it an IPO. Let's say there was 100,000 shares of stock, right? And I'm going to use a small number so that you guys can stay with me. Let's say there was 100,000 shares of stock for that company, all right? And all of a sudden, I, as the CEO of that company, starts buying back stocks. Well, now there's less stocks, all right, less shares of that stock floating around the free market for people to buy than there was before, because I'm in all actuality, I'm kind of like hoarding the stocks of my company. So now there's less stocks or less shares of that stock for other people to buy. Well, when there's less of something, usually the price goes up, all right? It's just basic economics, right? Supply and demand. So when a company buys more stocks of their own company, they are doing what is called, they're shorting, or they're creating an artificial shortage. Sorry about that. I'm just not very smart when it comes to getting the right words, right? But what they're doing is they're producing what's called an artificial shortage of that stock in the market. So the less amount of shares of that stock that you can buy, the more that stock is going to be evaluated at or valued at, right? As far as the nominal value goes, the dollar value goes, all right? So when you think about the stock market, you cannot think about it representing what the physical economy represents, okay? So that's the way I see the stock market versus the physical economy, okay? Now, you go and take a look at some other things. Now, I'm just flying off the cuff here, all right? Like I said, I didn't prep for this video. This is 100% impromptu. Take a look at other things that are going around, all right? Take a look at how many people in the United States have student loans. I think it's somewhere in the number of about 45 million people in the United States that are burdened with student loans. And of those 45 million people, it's 40 something million. I think it's like 45. Of those 40 something million people that are burdened with student loans, I think like 30% of those student loans are delinquent. So we have a total of about 1.3 trillion dollars worth of student loans outstanding, of which about 30% are delinquent. And when I say delinquent, it means that the owners of those student loans have stopped making payments on them for at least 90 days, all right? Think about all of the auto loans that we have out there, all right? We have over $1 trillion worth of auto loan in the United States. Same thing with that. I think it's somewhere in the 30 or 40% of people that have auto loans are also delinquent on their loans, which means they haven't made a payment in like 90 days, all right? Or something like that. You would have to research the numbers to get specific numbers on your own, because I don't have the numbers in front of me. But when we're supposed to be having such a great economy, all right, and we have people burdened with student loans that they can't pay it back, and those people that are paying back their student loans cannot afford to buy a home because their student loans are so much, to me, that says that the physical economy is not doing that great, because you have people that went out there and got all these loans to get an education that is now not affording them the opportunity to earn enough to pay back on those student loans. when you think of all of the, and I'm going to use the word millennials, okay, but I'm going to use the word also sons and daughters of all these people that are still living with them, all right? We have young adults that are around the age of 24 to 30 or so that are still living with their parents because they cannot afford to go out on their own. To me, that tells me that the physical economy is not doing that great. Tell me, what good is it doing anyone that can't afford to live on their own if the stock market is doing really great? All right. Believe it or not, most Americans don't willingly participate in the stock market. The stock market is mostly reserved for pension plans, all right? All of these companies that have these huge pension plans and all of these states that have pension plans, they need to put that money somewhere where that money will grow at a steady rate of interest in order for them to be able to pay out their pensioners on an annual basis. So these stock markets not only are being inflated by company buybacks, but they're also being inflated by the money that is being taken out of your paychecks for your pension. All right? So, like I said, that does not represent what the physical economy is doing, okay? Look at the prices of things, how they've been going up. Just here where I live, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, the price of gasoline has increased by about 60 cents. And that is an incredibly high increase. That's almost a 20 to 25% increase in the price of gasoline just in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And I think it's going to keep going up a little more, all right? Especially with all of the ruckus that's going on with Iran and with Venezuela, all right? Which are really big oil exporters around the world. So when you think about the physical economy, think about those things. I'll say this, there may be some pockets here or there throughout the country, and I'm sure that there are, of places that are doing really well, that are booming, all right, that are doing well. But that doesn't represent the entire economy of the United States. And let me tell you what I mean about that. So last month, they also boasted that we had a 3.1% GDP, gross domestic product, for last month, where they were only expecting like a 2.4% increase in GDP. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the way that real inflation is measured is by taking the inflation, all right, that they're saying that we have. So they're saying that we have about 2% inflation, right? And then you subtract that from the GDP. So if it's true that we have 2% inflation and the GDP was 3.1, then really the economy only grew at 1.1%. Okay, at least that's the way I see it. Do your own research, ladies and gentlemen. That's the main message that I've got for you guys. I'm going to pull over here real quick because I'm going to turn around. I'm not going to make this video that long. All right, I'm going to turn around here. But as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful day out here today. And the great news is this, is I looked at the weather report for the next 10 days, and it's showing that we're going to have really sunny weather for the next 10 days, which is an awesome thing. Because today, after I get home, I'm going to spend the rest of the day cleaning up my yard because I've got a new septic system coming in next weekend, and I have to have it ready so that they can go ahead and start doing their digging and doing whatever it is that they have to do to replace my septic system. All right? So I just want you guys to think critically. All right? And the last thing that I want is for you to blindly believe what I'm telling you. I really want you to empower yourself by doing your own research. I keep saying that. Do your own research. Come to your own conclusion. Because, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, what you do is going to affect you and your family. All right? So how is it that you would just blindly follow what anyone tells you to do? All right? I've always said, do your own research, do your own research, do your own research. Because if you don't do that, then you still don't have anyone to blame but yourself. All right? When the piper comes knocking at the door. All right, so you have to make sure that you come to your own conclusions, but don't be lazy about it. All right, there's a beautiful thing out there. It's called the internet, and although it's not the best, it's better than what we've had in the past. And you can get a lot of good information out there just from clicking a few buttons. All right, so it's easy for us to do our own research these days than what it was a decade ago or 2 decades ago. All right, so in my opinion, the economy is not doing great. All right, in my opinion, I think that we need to prepare. You need to prepare for what's coming. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If you have 6 months supply of food, guess what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is that you need it because something happens that's out of your control and you're not able to resource your needs on a daily basis like we are now. All right, the best thing that can happen is that you just rotate that food and use it as you go. And you know just as well as I know that tomorrow's food prices are going to be less expensive than today's food prices. All right, so it's a no-lose situation for you if you prepare ahead of time for anything that may be coming, because the one thing that we can all agree on, I think, the one thing that I think that we can all agree on is that tomorrow's prices will be more than today's prices. And that is self-evident in the video that I did for you guys a couple of days ago, or maybe it was Friday, yesterday that I did it, that read about that bill 5404, where they said, blatantly said, that they understand that the value of the dollar has decreased by 96% in the last 100 years, or since 1913. Just that in it of itself should be enough for you to say, you know what, if the value of the dollar is consistently decreasing, then that ought to tell you that the cost, the nominal cost of everything else that is purchased with the dollar is going to consistently go up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I've got to say about that. But the main message is, do not be scared, ladies and gentlemen. Don't panic. Don't go out and spend $10,000 on long-term food storage if you can't afford it. All right, build up your stockpile slow and steady. All right, I've said it 1,000 times. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't burden yourself by going into debt to stockpile supplies. That in my opinion is a terrible idea. Right, I would never do that. So because, you know, whoever is a debtor is going to be, I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. Whoever is a borrower is slave to the debtor, meaning that if you borrow money, you're going to have to pay that money back. And what you're doing when you borrow money is you are promising someone that you will give them your future energy. All right, energy that you have not expended yet. You are giving them some of that. All right, and that makes you a slave to whoever it is that you borrowed from. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to go ahead and beat this dead horse anymore. I just wanted you all to understand that when I say something, or when I recommend something, or say this is what I do, I truly expect you to do your own research. Because in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, things are not getting better. The economy is not getting better. In my opinion, in our lifetime, and that's a big statement to say, in our lifetime, because heck, a lifetime, you know, a generation is usually 25, 30 years, all right? And we still have, most of us still have at least one generation to live before we go home, right? So just prepare, all right? Prepare the best that you can, all right? Do the best that you can to take care of yourself and your family, all right? And if you're a good moral person, all right, in the end, it's all gonna be okay anyways. Okay, because all we can do is the best that we can do. We can't do any more than that. And only because I have a $2.5 million calorie pantry doesn't mean that you have to have one, because it may not be what's best for you. You have to take these bits of information that you get from my videos or from other videos and use the bits that are good for you so that you can prepare for yourself. All right? There is no cookie cutter way of preparing because everyone is different. All right? And I'm glad we live in a world where everyone is different, or else it'd be a very boring world to live in. All right? I think that's probably one thing that you would agree with. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off because I am turning off right now, and I can see that this video is already gone on 25 whole minutes. All right, we are in the town of Fox right now. All right, and you know what, ladies and gentlemen, you saw the drive that I took up here. Let me go ahead and make this quick point. So the drive that I took up here, you saw how long it took for me to get up here. This is one of the reasons that I decided to live in this area. Is if something cataclysmic were to happen, most people are not going to be headed north, all right, to around where I live. Most people will be headed south. So I think that this area is a great place to live, because if something were to happen, like if there were a major crisis where we didn't have the availability of being able to go to the supermarket for our food, all right, most people are going to be headed south, away from here, and not headed this way, because there's really nothing up here. All right, as you can see, I think I passed a little gas station up there, that's not the gas station that I stop by for coffee every day. It's a different one that's on my way to work. But that's why I decided to live in this area, because most people are going to be headed south of here and not north of here. There's really literally nothing north of here. All right, so all right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got something out of this video. Just remember, don't panic, don't be afraid, don't be scared, just be prepared. We have all been blessed with time. All right, we have all been blessed with the gift of time. All right, so use this time smartly. All right, instead of going out and buying a $50 dinner, all right, for you and your better half, all right, cook that dinner at home and then take the other $40 and prep with it. All right, that's just my message. That's what I do. I'm not saying that once in a while I myself and Mrs. Alaska Prepper don't go out for a meal. Yes, we do, but it's very rare that we do. All right, we rather make sure that we are going to have the things that we need in a crisis than to be able to go out and spend $50, $100 every week just to go out and eat in a restaurant where you don't even know what you're eating. Right, I'm going to leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. I truly hope you guys are having a great day. It's a beautiful day out here today. I'll be doing a little sweating today. All right, cleaning up my yard. And thank you very much to all of you guys that went on to Marfugo last night. I actually was watching the live stream last night on Marfugo and I fell asleep. And when I woke up, I had a whole bunch of comments saying, hey, you got a shout out at Marfugo's. And then I went and watched the rerun, and I saw so many of our awesome AP community members on there shouting out the AP community. Thank you guys very much. I am very blessed to have you guys in our community, and our community is beautiful. It really is a beautiful thing. So thank you so much. Many blessings to every one of you. All right, so having said that, remember to be good to each other, ladies and gentlemen, because when good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Excuse me. Remember that tomorrow on Sunday's live premiere chat, that we're going to be doing some giveaways. All right, as a way of thanking you guys again for the awesome community that we have, and excuse me, and also because I have some bucks left over, because all of those pressure cookers that we gave away a couple weeks ago, they ended up being on sale. So the money that I was going to spend out of my pocket to give away the frying pans and all those things, I still have, and I'm definitely going to go ahead and use it to spend it on the community. So I hope that some of you guys have a good day tomorrow in the live chat, and come away from it with a few other things. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I'm out.